Imagine going about your day, feeling a little off, maybe a slight tingle, or a fleeting moment of confusion. You shrug it off, thinking it's just a senior moment or a touch of tiredness. But what if that brief, almost unnoticeable flicker was actually your body sending out a critical warning signal, a signal that, if missed, could change everything in an instant? It's a heartbreaking truth that countless seniors, even those who are otherwise healthy and active, often overlook the quiet, subtle whispers their body sends before a major health event like a stroke. We're so used to soldiering on, to dismissing minor aches or odd feelings, that we inadvertently put ourselves at a greater risk. The tragedy is, much of the potential damage can be drastically reduced, if only we knew what to look for and acted fast. The secret isn't in avoiding stroke entirely, as some things are beyond our control. The real power lies in recognizing those first, often missed, early indicators. In this video, we're going to dive deep into 7 crucial, early signs of stroke that far too many seniors unfortunately miss. These aren't the dramatic, movie-like symptoms, but the quiet, sneaky ones that often get brushed aside. Learning these could literally save your life, or the life of someone you love. So, stay with me, because what we're about to discuss is incredibly important, and make sure you watch right to the very end, because there's something waiting for you that might just surprise you and empower you even further. Let's begin our journey by understanding the very first early signs that often go unnoticed. The first critical sign, and one that is part of the well-known FAST acronym for stroke recognition, is sudden face drooping or arm weakness. Now, you might be thinking, I know about facial drooping, isn't that obvious? But what we're focusing on here are the subtle and early versions that people easily dismiss. It might not be a dramatic, unmistakable droop on one side of your face. Instead, you might notice a very slight asymmetry when you look in the mirror while smiling, or perhaps a slight feeling of numbness or heaviness on one side. It's a feeling that makes your face feel a little off, almost like it's not quite responding as usual. Even if others don't immediately notice it, you might try to lift both corners of your mouth evenly, and one just doesn't quite make it. Or, with arm weakness, it's not a complete inability to lift your arm. It might be a fleeting feeling of weakness, a slight loss of coordination, or a peculiar heaviness in one arm or hand. You could be holding a cup of tea or trying to pick up something, and suddenly, that hand just feels weak, clumsy, or unable to grip properly, making you almost drop what you're holding. Perhaps you're trying to button a shirt or tie your shoelaces, and one hand just isn't cooperating as usual, feeling less agile or strong than the other. This weakness or numbness might come and go, making it even easier to dismiss as just being tired or a trick of the light. But even if it's temporary or very mild, it's a critical warning. Do not wait for it to get worse or to become obvious. Any sudden, unexplained weakness or change in control in your face or arm, especially on one side of your body, needs immediate attention. Closely related to this, and just as important to catch early, is the second sign, sudden speech difficulty. Again, we're not just talking about severe slurred speech that's impossible to understand. Though that is certainly a major sign, we're focusing on the more subtle, early indications that often get attributed to forgetfulness or simply being tired. This could manifest as suddenly struggling to find the right words in a conversation that was just flowing perfectly. You know what you want to say, but the word just won't come out, or you substitute it with a completely wrong or nonsensical word. It might also be a very slight slurring, a subtle change in your voice that makes words sound a bit garbled or indistinct, even if you don't feel like you're actively slurring, or perhaps. And this can be incredibly frustrating and frightening. You might find yourself suddenly unable to understand what someone else is saying, even though they're speaking clearly in English. Their words might sound jumbled, like a foreign language, for a brief moment, making it impossible to follow the conversation. Imagine you're chatting with a friend, and suddenly, you can't quite grasp what they're saying, or when you try to respond. Your own words feel thick and confused in your mouth. This isn't your typical senior moment where you forget a name. This is an acute, sudden disruption in your ability to form or comprehend language. It's a clear signal that something is amiss in your brain, and it demands immediate attention. Even if it resolves quickly, it should be taken very seriously. The third vital early sign we need to discuss is sudden vision changes. This is another one that can be easily overlooked or blamed on eye strain or needing a new pair of glasses. What we're looking for here is a sudden, inexplicable alteration in your vision, particularly if it affects only one eye. This isn't a gradual blurring that develops over days or weeks. It's an abrupt onset. You might be reading your newspaper, watching television, or simply looking out the window, and suddenly, a part of your field of vision disappears, almost like a curtain is being drawn across one eye. Or perhaps, your vision becomes suddenly blurry in one eye, as if a fog has rolled in, making it impossible to see clearly, even for a short time. Double vision, where you suddenly see two of everything, is also a significant red flag. It's important to note that these changes can be temporary, lasting only a few seconds or minutes, which makes them easy to dismiss. You might rub your eyes, blink a few times, and when it clears, you might think nothing of it. But if you experience any sudden, unexplained blurring, dimming, or loss of vision in one or both eyes, or if you suddenly start seeing double, it's a symptom that absolutely cannot be ignored. Even if it passes, it's a critical warning sign that your brain is experiencing a temporary disruption in blood flow. And it's a sign that demands immediate medical evaluation. These initial signs, though they might seem fleeting or minor, are your body's early alarm system. But the story doesn't end there. There are other subtle whispers that are just as critical, and often even more easily dismissed. Let's explore more of these vital clues. Next up, we have our fourth sign, which is sudden trouble walking, dizziness, or a loss of balance and coordination. This isn't just feeling a bit wobbly when you stand up too fast, or an occasional stumble on an uneven pavement. This is a sudden, acute feeling of instability, as if the ground is swaying beneath you, or you've lost your internal sense of direction. One moment you might be walking perfectly fine, perhaps getting up from your favorite armchair or making your way to the kitchen. And the next, you feel profoundly unsteady. You might suddenly veer to one side without intending to, or find yourself struggling to walk in a straight line. It could feel like you've suddenly stepped onto a boat in rough seas, even though you're on solid ground. This dizziness is different from just being lightheaded. It's a true sensation of spinning or feeling acutely off balance, to the point where you might feel like you're going to fall. You might find simple tasks like reaching for something on a shelf or getting dressed suddenly become incredibly difficult because your coordination has gone awry. This sudden loss of balance or coordination, especially if it appears out of the blue and is not caused by something obvious like tripping, is a powerful indicator that your brain might be experiencing an issue. If you suddenly find yourself unable to coordinate your movements or feel a profound, inexplicable dizziness that doesn't pass quickly, don't try to walk it off or simply attribute it to age. This is a serious symptom that requires immediate attention. Our fifth crucial sign, and one that many people unfortunately dismiss as just a bad headache, is a sudden, severe headache, often described as the worst headache of your life. Now, nearly everyone gets a headache from time to time, and many people live with migraines or tension headaches. But this particular type of headache is distinct because of its sudden onset and extreme intensity. It doesn't build up gradually over minutes or hours. It hits you like a thunderclap, exploding into excruciating pain in a matter of seconds. It's often described as an unprecedented pain, unlike any headache you've ever experienced before. This kind of headache can be accompanied by neck stiffness, nausea, or even vomiting. But the key is its abrupt, explosive nature. Imagine feeling perfectly fine one moment, and the next, your head is gripped by an unimaginable pain that comes out of nowhere. It's not the kind of pain you can simply take an over-the-counter painkiller for and expect to carry on. If you experience a sudden, excruciating headache that feels like a thunderclap, or is the absolute worst pain you've ever felt in your head, do not wait. This is a medical emergency and needs immediate evaluation to rule out a stroke or another serious condition. Moving on to our sixth early sign. This one is particularly sneaky because it can be so easily dismissed as general tiredness or just getting older. This is sudden, unexplained fatigue or general weakness, especially if it's noticeably worse on one side of your body. We all get tired, especially as we age, and a good night's sleep often remedies that. But this isn't that kind of tiredness. This is a profound, sudden onset of weakness that makes simple, everyday tasks feel overwhelmingly difficult or even impossible. Even if you haven't exerted yourself, it's like all your energy has been abruptly drained. The crucial part here is if this sudden weakness feels more pronounced on one side. Perhaps one arm suddenly feels heavy and difficult to lift, or one leg feels like lead when you try to walk. Even though the other side feels normal, you might find yourself struggling to lift a cup of tea with one hand, or buttoning your shirt, not because of coordination issues, but because the muscles just feel suddenly and profoundly weak. This isn't just feeling sleepy. It's an acute, inexplicable loss of physical strength. If you experience a sudden, overwhelming feeling of weakness or fatigue that comes on without explanation, particularly if it affects one side of your body more than the other, it's a red flag that needs immediate attention. Finally, our seventh early sign is sudden confusion or disorientation, even mild memory lapses in an acute sense. This is more than just momentarily forgetting where you put your car keys or what you came into a room for. This is a sudden, noticeable change in your mental clarity, your ability to process information, or your awareness of your surroundings. You might suddenly feel acutely confused about the time or day, or struggle to understand simple instructions that you would normally grasp instantly. For instance, you might suddenly not recognize your own street or neighborhood, even though you've lived there for years. Or perhaps, you're in the middle of a familiar conversation and suddenly can't follow it. Or you forget how to use a common household item, like your phone, that you've used countless times. It's a sharp, abrupt shift in your cognitive function, not a gradual decline. It can manifest as sudden disorientation, where you might not know where you are or who you're with, even in a familiar setting. If you, or someone you are with, suddenly experiences this kind of acute confusion, disorientation, or a sudden, profound inability to remember recent events or understand simple concepts, it is a serious sign. This isn't a normal part of aging and it demands immediate medical attention. These 7 signs, though sometimes subtle and easily dismissed, are critical messengers from your body. Understanding them is the first step towards protection. Now, let's bring all this vital information together and talk about what truly matters next. We've covered a lot of crucial ground today, focusing on those 7 early, often missed signs of a stroke. We talked about the sudden, subtle changes in your face or arm, a slight droop or weakness that might seem fleeting. We explored how sudden difficulty with speech, whether it's slurring words or struggling to understand, is a powerful warning. Then there were those unexpected vision changes, like a sudden blur or even a temporary loss of sight in one eye. We also discussed that perplexing sudden trouble with balance and walking, where your footing just feels off, and that infamous thunderclap headache that comes out of nowhere. And let's not forget the insidious sudden fatigue or weakness, especially if it favors one side. and the acute onset of confusion or disorientation that goes beyond simple forgetfulness. Each of these, on its own, is a signal you simply cannot afford to ignore. It's natural to feel a bit overwhelmed or even a little anxious when we talk about serious health topics like this. But my goal isn't to scare you, it's to empower you, to arm you with knowledge that can literally make the difference between a full recovery and a life-altering event. Remember, awareness is your greatest ally. Knowing what to look for, and more importantly, knowing to act immediately, is the key. You are not helpless in the face of these possibilities. Small changes in your awareness, a heightened sense of paying attention to your body's whispers, can make a monumental difference. Your health, your independence, and your quality of life are truly in your hands when you are prepared. The golden rule, as always, remains act fast. If you see any of these signs, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, it's time to call emergency services. And even if the symptom passes quickly, even if it feels minor, even if you're unsure, please, always err on the side of caution. Don't wait to see if it gets better. Don't go to bed hoping it will be gone in the morning. A transient ischemic attack, or TIA, often called a mini-stroke, exhibits these very same symptoms, but they might last only a few minutes. While a TIA doesn't cause permanent damage on its own, it is a critical warning sign that a full-blown stroke is likely to happen soon. So, treat every potential stroke symptom, no matter how brief or mild, as an emergency. The quicker you get medical help, the better the chances are for a positive outcome. Because time is truly brain when it comes to stroke. Every minute counts. Don't worry about being a bother or overreacting. Medical professionals would much rather you call, and it turns out to be nothing serious, than for you to wait and suffer a devastating stroke that could have been prevented or minimized. Beyond immediate action, remember that a healthy lifestyle remains your best long-term defense. Maintaining a healthy blood pressure, which is often called the silent killer, is paramount. Regularly checking your blood pressure and working with your doctor to keep it within a healthy range is one of the most impactful things you can do. Managing cholesterol levels, especially LDL or bad cholesterol, through diet and medication if necessary, is another crucial step. Staying physically active, even with moderate exercise like daily walking, helps keep your blood vessels healthy and your heart strong. Eating a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, while limiting processed foods, unhealthy fats, and excessive salt, supports overall cardiovascular health. And of course, if you smoke, quitting is arguably the single most important step you can take to reduce your stroke risk. These are all incredibly powerful steps you can take every single day to reduce your overall stroke risk. It's about building a foundation of wellness, combined with the vigilance we've discussed today. Don't underestimate the power of these consistent, healthy choices in safeguarding your brain and your body for years to come. Every step you take towards better health is a step towards a more vibrant, independent future. I truly hope this video has given you valuable insight and confidence. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you or someone you know ever experienced a subtle sign that turned out to be a stroke warning? Sharing your experiences in the comments below can help so many others in our community, fostering that collective awareness and support. Your story might be the very thing someone else needs to hear to take action. So, please, don't hesitate to share what's on your mind. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a big thumbs up. It helps us reach more people who need this vital knowledge. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We're always here to bring you practical, empowering information to help you live your healthiest, happiest life at every age. Because remember, age is truly just a number when you have the knowledge and the courage to take charge of your well-being. Stay vigilant, stay healthy, and keep embracing every moment. You truly deserve to live your best life, vibrant and full of joy. At every age,